Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be the first episode of a new series titled Inspirational Stories, and these stories are obviously meant to give you inspirational and positive meaning. So, the first story I'm going to share with you guys is called Philosophy Class, so I hope you enjoy. A professor stood before his philosophy class and had some items in front of him. When the class began, wordlessly, he picked up a very large and empty mayonnaise jar and proceeded to fill it with golf balls. He then asked the students if the jar was full, and they agreed that it was. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly. The pebbles rolled into the open areas between the golf balls. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. They agreed it was. The professor next picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. Of course, the sand filled up everything else. He asked once more if the jar was full. The students responded with a unanimous yes. The professor then produced 2 cups of coffee from under the table and poured the entire contents into the jar, effectively filling the empty space between the sand. The students laughed. Now, said the professor, as the laughter subsided, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The golf balls are the important things in your life. Your God, family, your children, your health, your friends, and your favorite passions. Things that if everything else was lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, and your car. The sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand into the jar first, he continued, there is no room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same goes for life. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are important to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Play with your children. Take your partner out to dinner. There will always be time to clean the house and fix the disposal. Take care of the golf balls first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just sand. One of the students raised her hand and inquired what the coffee represented. The professor smiled. I'm glad you asked. It goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem, there's always room for a cup of coffee with a friend. So I thought that was a really nice story to share with you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed it. And you know, I don't know if this is true or not. It doesn't say anywhere, but the professor really did show the students what their priorities should be in life, because sometimes people get those mixed up and they put unimportant stuff top in their life. But the professor told them that you gotta put the golf balls in first, because if you put the sand in first, you're not gonna have room for the golf balls. For example, if you have video games, let's say video games first in your life, you're not gonna have time for family or friends or anything like that. So you have to put those things first, the big things first, and then the small things next. The coffee was a pretty good representation of that there's always room for really small things, because it may seem that your life is so busy and hectic, but you're always gonna have time just to have a cup of coffee with your friend. So again, I hope you guys like this story and video, and I tried to edit out the boring parts of the free-for-all, because I feel it's much more interesting this way, so you don't have to sit through all my walking and camping and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode of Inspirational Stories. See you next time.